I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
I'm not even supposed to be here today! Oh, fuck you!
Come on, you want me to drive? You're supposed to be suicidal. Remember, I'll
Anybody
drive.
a drive?
Get in the car.
Fuck me in the fucking ass. Fuck you, you fucking stupid cunt.
Hey everyone, it's Don J. Corleone here, and I'm here with a brand new movie review, and this movie review is going to be for 1994's Leon the Professional, directed by Luc Besson. Yeah, which many regard to be one of his most well-known works. Yeah, so what is the plot of Leon the Professional? Well, after her father's stepmother, stepsister, and little brother are all killed by her father's employers, the 12-year-old daughter of an abject drug dealer named Matilda manages to take refuge in an apartment of a professional hitman named Leon, who had a request to teach her the methods of his job so she can take her revenge on the corrupt DEA agent named Norman Stansfield, played by Gary Oldman, who ruined her life by killing her beloved brother. Yeah, so as for my reaction, the director of this movie, Luc Besson, has produced and directed some films I've loved. He's directed The Fifth Element. I absolutely love The Fifth Element. He's produced the Transport films. I like the first one. Don't mind the second one. Don't like the rest of them. He's directed this family trilogy called the Arthur movies that are guilty pleasures. They're there. He did produce Taken, the first one. Well, all of them. I love the first Taken movie. Another one of my favorite action films of all time. And also has done some films I do not like. Like, I do not like Valerian. I'm not a fan of Lucy. I don't like Columbiana. I think that film I definitely think is boring as shit. No, Columbiana he didn't direct, he did produce it though, but the guy who did direct Columbiana was this guy who directed the Taken sequels. Yeah, that's everything you need to know. And the script for that film was going to be the sequel to this movie, but they were like, nah, forget that. Because the rights stayed with Gaumont, and I'll explain that later. Let's talk of this movie. When it comes to this movie, I have to say, I think of whatever work would have to be my favorite of his. I have to say this movie would probably have to be my favorite film from Luc Besson, and honestly one of the best action films of all time. It's not like a crazy gun-ho action film in a way. It's kind of like a drama-themed action movie in a way, but it's still technically an action film, because there's still action in it. It's not as frequent as you'd probably expect. And so, how was this film made? Well, Leon the Professional is actually, to some extent, an expansion of an idea of Besson's previous film before this called La Femme Nikita, which in some countries is just called Nikita, where John Reno played a similar character named Victor. Besson described Leon as pretty much John playing the American cousin of Victor, but he's more human. So when it came to creating Leon, Luc Besson had drew inspiration from Jeff Costello to create Leon, the Tyler character, for Leon the Professional. And a few scenes were shot in New York, and well, most of the film was still technically shot in France, but anyway though, after the film was officially shot and completed, Leon the Professional would go on to be released into France by Gaumont through Gaumont Buena Vista International on September 14th, 1994. However, though, the movie was not released till the United States in November 1994. And while it does have critical acclaim from audiences, but critics were more decently positive on the film. Like, it wasn't really high reviews from critics. Well, that's a majority of Luc Besson's works. they don't really always get huge acclaim. So, but though, it does have acclaim from audiences. In kind of a way. Especially from viewers like myself. Now, let's start with the good qualities and the whole story of the film and how the film goes. What makes Leon the Professional so great? Well, Luc Besson's movie Leon the Professional, it gives us an intense story that gets maximized potential by the casting of the movie. Every aspect of the movie delivers to the viewers and makes an impressive overall package. Our main actor of the film, Jean Reno, who I have liked in quite a few films. I liked him in Mission Impossible, the first one. I enjoy him as the French Frog and Flushed Away. I think his character in that film was entertaining as hell. And he also was in Le Film Nikita. He has worked with Luc Besson before. He plays our protagonist named Leon, who has learned to repress his emotions in order to perform his job as a cleaner, or hitman for short. His secluded world gets shattered by this young girl named Matilda who lives on the same floor as he does in an apartment building, and she turns to him for help one day. He learns about living a normal life, even if circumstances that unite them are far from normal. And of course, like, Matilda, was played by Natalie Portman, was actually 12 years old at the time this was filmed, and actually, this was actually her first on-screen appearance, and her first on-screen appearance was nothing short of brilliant. And this was an actress that went on to play in stuff like The Star Wars and many other big projects like Black Swan, the Star Wars prequels, the MCU as Jane Foster, and Thor the Dark World. And then came back for Thor Love and Thunder. Less said about that awful fucking film, the better. Don't need to talk about that bullshit. It's not canon. That is not canon. That does not exist. But I think Natalie Portman is a great actress. And her ability to relate to others with body movement and facial gestures is really matched by few and brings raw emotion to this role and character. Like, Matilda and Leon are unexpectedly thrown together, and they learn to value life from their chance encounter and how valuable a friendship can be. Now, when it comes to more John Reynolds' performance as Leon, like, John Reynolds really gives us, the viewers, and when he plays the character Leon this film, and a character that sets all of his energy on his assignments until he's given something else to care about. Matilda gives him the daughter that he never had, and Leon serves as kind of the father and friend to her, but she kind of in a way has romantic feelings I'm going to get to later, though, and then of course you have our villain of the movie, Norman Stansfield, that just about everybody says is easily, like, many regard Norman Stansfield the one of the best things about the film. Easily, like, whenever you see praise for this movie gets, a lot of the praise really goes to Gary Oldman's performance as Norman Stansfield. Like, Norman Stansfield offers the viewers this wired electrical performance from Gary Oldman that really pushes the envelope and easily, like, what I easily would like to call one of the best villains of the 90s and best villains of cinema. He really moves the story by his actions, and like, Gary Oldman really offers this memorable portrayal that of the sadistically obsessed man that stops short of nothing to get what he wants. Like yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite villains of any action film yet, and definitely one of my favorite Gary Oldman performances. Right there, and like, this is just about a lot. This is actually a lot of people's favorite roles from Gary Oldman. Of course, the Star Portrayal of Humanity in this story, Inhumanity, gets produced by a style finish that one expects from Luc Besson. And the combined talents of the whole cast, like, they provide not only unmatched on-screen chemistry, but the three main actors really perfectly create the characterizations for their characters and stuff. Like, this was back when I was seen a lot of times in cinema. So, how do we start off the whole entire story for Leon the Professional? So, it starts off with our Italian-American hitman named Leon. Well, he uses the codename Cleaner for this guy's hitman for sure. He works for this mafioso named Old Tony, played by Danny Alio, in this Italy neighborhood of New York City. Then one day, though, Leon meets Matilda Lando, this lonely 12-year-old who's played by newcomer at the time this came out, Natalie Portman, who lives with her dysfunctional family in an apartment down the hall from Leon. She stopped attending class or school for troubled girls as well. Then, for what we can see, Matilda's life with her family is shitty. Very shitty. Like, awful. Because her father is abusive, her mom is pretty neglectful, and her stepsister is also a piece of shit towards her. Like, to the point where she's now pretty much smoking cigarettes on the stairwells. Times or whenever it's Matilda's time to use the TV, her stepsister will hog it, and her stepsister will get off scot-free. When Matilda tries to have her turn, her stepsister will bully the shit out of her, basically. So yeah, her life is a living hell in this apartment. Then one day, her abusive father attracts the eye of corrupt DEA agents that have been paying him to stash cocaine in his apartment. They discover that he stole from their stash, and they invade the apartment, led by Norman Stansfield, our main antagonist. And during the search for the drugs, Matilda's family gets slaughtered by Stansfield while she's out getting groceries and even getting Leon a bit of milk for his apartment. And Leon lives, like, whenever he's not doing hits, like, he actually does live kind of a decent enough life. I mean, he still goes out into disguise in society. Like, even one point, he even goes to a movie theater on his own. Like, that's kind of what I do sometimes, so. Right there in a way, like, and actually is kind of in a way, despite the Hitman guys he's wearing, like, he's actually watching this, like, little Sing in the Rain, like, little screening, and he clearly is really enjoying the project, enjoying the picture. Like, there's still some things he enjoys in life. Then, of course, Matilda gets back from the store, realizes what happened, just in time to go down the hall to Leon's apartment, and he hesitates for a bit, but then he gives her shelter, and when she, like, tells Leon what happened, and when she does call her mother a pig, Leon's like, don't call that. Pigs are not always bad people. They smell, like, you probably don't have a pig in your apartment. Though I do. Like, he actually does have a pig in his apartment, and it's actually this pig oven mitt. He brings it out and pretty much makes oink noises, and then so that Matilda can actually learn that some pigs are not actually bad, and I did really like this moment right here. You actually do see the human side of Leon in this scene. Right here, like, after he hesitantly lets Matilda in his apartment, and you can kind of see where this is going right here, where the rest of the story is going to go. Or it's starting to kind of lead up to, like, especially when John Renault has pretty much a good screen presence, like, this, of course, like, it's not like your typical gun-toting action hero, like, no. Leon's not like those guys from the 90s were known for. Leon actually has this innocent compassion that really does make you like him as a character instantly. And Leon's life is as simple as a small child's life. Like, he has the TVs, he really loves milk, and often the odd assassination. Like, yeah, he doesn't really sleep much, he doesn't really read much, he doesn't really have trappings of family or wealth, but he kind of lives like a robot. And then Matilda comes into his life, and he starts to really see the human life in a way. And usually the feast for hits get, like, held by this sleazy Italian gangster played by Danny Alio, who only gives him, like, a few $100s at times. Of course, now, like, and Matilda, our other character of the film, really does have something justifiable to gripe about. Like, while most of her family was abusive, there was one family member she did love, and that was her brother. Her brother was pretty much the only other normal one of the family, and so that makes her still want revenge for their deaths after they've been slaughtered by Norman Stansfield and his gang of crooked officers. Like Matilda takes on her stride and then teams up with Leon for revenge, and it's kind of a little bit of an iffy on-screen relationship, but I wouldn't say it's an overly iffy one, to be fair, but, I mean, because it still does have some nice moments in it, but there's times when it's kind of an uncomfortable-ish one, because here's the thing. It's kind of this love story between this 12-year-old and friend, not really not a romance love story, but almost close-ish to it, but between his 12-year-old and his French hitman that is kind of eye-raising. But Luc Besson, in a way, doesn't make it creepy, you know. He does handle it, he does kind of, in a way, handle it a little more beautifully, in a way, because they still do have good on-screen chemistry with one another, and it's not something like American Beauty, no, it's not something like that. It's thankfully not like American Beauty, creepy stuff. No, like, at least like this one here, it's not touched up on as much. Like, there's some good shots where Matilda walks down the corridor past the Carter apartment, and then knocking on Leon's door, and imploring this tearful moment to let her in. Like, this really, and it's a breathtaking shot and a heartbreaking shot, like the way it's all shot. And you see Leon weary at first, wanting that, but then wins him around and starts to really bring out of his shell, like, as the movie progresses. Like, this is some of the stuff that Luc Besson can actually film well. Like, this movie really shows that Luc Besson actually can make that great film. I mean, he has did some good films. The Fifth Element was good. This movie was good. Like, the public, though, like, the domestic moviegoers, not everybody saw that as much. And so, like, in North America, they didn't really go that noticed. So, like, this Fifth Element of this film are his greatest achievements as a director, and especially because, like, he's kind of more of a, like, this whole cultist director, but those films were his big achievements. Right there. And, like, The Professional does really show that there's always a masterpiece there. And, like, when this came out, like, it wasn't really that recognized at the box office either. Like, and critics were just more decently positive. Not, like, high acclaim, but audiences were much more acclaiming of the movie. Like, so, yeah. So, once Matilda's staying with Leon a little more, she discovers that Leon's a hitman, or technically, he says, like, the codename Cleaner as a way, like, that does kind of reference Hitman. But she begs him, and of course she then begs Leon to take care of her and teach her his skills, because she wants to avenge her 4-year-old brother, but Leon's unsettled by this and considers killing her in her sleep, though, but he then has second thoughts about that, and then he trains Matilda and shows how to use various weapons, and then she then starts, like, running his errands and cleaning his apartment and teaches him how to read, and Matilda then does start to look up to Leon, and that's where you kind of get those moments where she's developing this crush on him, but he does not reciprocate those feelings at all, though. And, like, you actually do get one, like, funny moments here when it, like, on kind of the first bit of training, when he's telling her certain stuff, and she keeps replying okay, and Leon's annoyed with her frequently saying okay all the time, and he tells her, and stop saying okay all the time, okay? Yeah, I love that bit right there, and, like, I do like this montage here, or there's one bit where they take a break from work and they play this guessing game where they're guessing certain pop culture characters, and there's one that Matilda's first, and the first character Matilda does in her turn was iffy-ish, but the other three I could guess easily. I mean, I could easily guess, like, the next one she does Marilyn Monroe for her next one. I could guess that one. I could easily guess Charlie Chaplin. Like, I'm familiar with Charlie Chaplin. I've watched a lot of Charlie Chaplin stuff. But Leon doesn't recognize it, but then, of course, he recognizes the Singing in the Rain character that she dresses up as. And then, when Leon's turn comes, he dresses up as a cowboy character. And first, Matilda thinks it's Clint Eastwood, but it's clearly not, though, and he just gives up after that. So yeah, like, you still do have some light comedy. You still do have some light comedy scenes between them and their chemistry, and yeah, like, you still do get some like good little funny scenes between them, like when those two I mentioned. And so one day Leon's out, and Matilda fills his bag with guns and sneaks out of the apartment to go try to kill Stansfield, but she bluffs her way to the DA office and poses as this delivery girl. Gets ambushed by Stansfield, though. Then one of Stansfield's men arrives. It turns out Leon killed Malky in Chinatown that morning. And then, of course, Leon had discovered her plan. He rescues Matilda. And more of Stansfield's men are killed in the process. And Stansfield then goes and confronts Tony, who is then pretty much then beaten up and asks to disclose Leon's whereabouts. And yeah, so it's more of a slow burn action film. Like, it's still violent and bleak in parts. Like, it still does have some humor, like the charades game or that. And of course, like, it does break up the serious narrative a little bit. And of course, like, when it comes to the best scene of the movie, I'd say easily, like, the whole, like, showdown at the toilet area where Matilda confronts Stan. Like, the acting between Portman and Oldman is really off the scale here in this scene. And the shots, and, like, the whole close-up shots of their characters, it's just mind-blowing. And, of course, like, when you have the complex relationship between Leon and Matilda, apart from kind of the more iffy moments, like, most of the aspect of that stuff gets driven by Matilda, not really Leon. Leon just kind of really goes with the flow. And especially because you still have the gripping story with the well-crafted characters like Matilda and John Reynolds' Leon. You have this cracking script and crisp pacing. And there are some over-the-top like moments, and the chemistry between Leon and Matilda expands in some poignant ones too as well. And of course, another thing I forgot to mention, the score. Eric Serra does the score of this movie. And it is also very terrific. I really love the music. I really like the music score whenever I view the film. And the soundtrack is really orchestrated well, especially with each scene. And then the music gets designed to match like what's happening on screen. Like, this is such a terrific score. Like, I really like some of the scenes that do play in the background here. Like, whenever like Leon's living, or the score that plays like during some of Leon's life when you first meet Leon. Like, all very well crafted moments here. The score is definitely another great thing about the film. And like, I'm surprised the score doesn't get talked about as much, because it's really a terrific score that's up there with scores like from John Williams or Danny Elfman or John Powell. Like this is definitely another one of the best scores of the 90s. But one thing I forgot to mention though, like, where would I have to rank this for best films in 1994? Well, number one best film in 1994 is obviously Shawshank Redemption. Then second place would be Pulp Fiction. Third place, The Lion King. Fourth place. Four and five would be either this or Speed. And like, one thing I don't really agree with on this DVD though is what this quote says. Make Speed look like a slow ride to Grandma's house. Said by Time Out Syndication. No. I would not say that at all. Because this and Speed are different movies. This is a film about a hitman that's basically that gets like pulled into this whole revenge quest from this 12-year-old and then starts to see the whole values of life again and starts to regain some humanity. Speed is a chase movie about a bus that won't slow down. They're different movies. They're not the same thing, so they really should not be compared. And no, I don't think this makes Speed look like a slow ride to Grandma's house. That's honestly a really stupid quote. Because I think Speed's still great. Still very great. But yeah, I think 4 would be either between this film or Speed. Either one of those two. I don't know which one. But yeah. Those are my favorites in 1994. So yeah. Leon then tells Matilda how he became a hitman. Like, you find out how he became a hitman. It's like, he was 19 in Italy. He fell in love with this girl from a family, but Leon's family was poor. And the two wanted to elope, but then the girl's father found out and killed her out of anger. And so this made Leon upset and mad. And so he killed the father of revenge, and he had to flee New York because he knew that he was not going to be safe there, and his family would not like to hear what he did. Then he met Tony, and he trained to become a hitman. So you actually do feel sadness for the character. Like, he wasn't always like this. He actually tried to start this romance. Like, he lived a life of poverty. He wanted to start this romance, but the father did not like this, knowing where he came from. And so he killed his own daughter. And that made Leon feel guilty. And so he basically had to flee. because he really felt guilt and felt like he caused all this. Right there, and he killed the dad out of anger. So that's why those are all why he left. Right there, and that's why he was living this hitman life in the first place. And then Matilda returns home from grocery shopping one day, and then this NYPD that's sent by Stansfield captures her and goes to Leon's apartment. But then Leon ambushes the ESU team and rescues Matilda. But then Leon creates a quick escape from Matilda by smashing a hole in an air shaft, and Matilda doesn't want to leave her though, and you still do get some good acting for Portman and Reno in this scene. But he tells her that he loves her, and to go to Tony's place in an hour before the ESU team fires a grenade into the apartment. However, sadly though, before Leon can get out, Leon is wounded and chaos then starts happening, and then he disguises himself as this ESU officer. And he's able to get down through the staircase, and he goes unnoticed, but Stansfield has found out about him, and he follows him and he shoots him right in the back just as he's about to get out. And there's another well-created shot right here, where you hear piano playing, and piano just getting more and more sinister as he's getting to the open door. And then, of course, when he's shot and he's starting to collapse, and the piano's like starting to get quieter and more sinister as you see from his point of view that he's collapsing. Like, that's another terrific shot right there. And Leon then kind of bleeds out and dies, and he gives a grenade pin in Stansfield's palm and tells him, "This is from Matilda." And then, of course, like, Stansfield's like smiling because he's killed Leon, but after he hears those words, like, Stansfield starts to get curious as to what he's talking about, and see when he sees a grenade pin, it's like, and he opens like the vest that Leon was wearing and sees that it is full of grenades, and then like Stansfield has to shit, and then of course, boom, the building blows up. Just like that, and Stansfield is defeated, and Matilda's brother is avenged. That guy's right there is both one of the saddest death scenes, and also one of the most satisfying death scenes, because the sad death scene that's combined in this one scene is Leon, because this time around, Leon was finally starting to become his human self again, and was finally free from the hitman life for good, and can now in a way, like, maybe like kind of live with Matilda. But then Stansfield shows up and shoots Leon in the back, but ironically though, he stupidly gets close to Leon's body, and he ends up being handed the grenade pin. And then of course, after the curiosity when he opens the vest, he immediately gets terrified and realizes he's fucked, knowing exactly that he's now just pulled off a whole entire train, and he is fucking done. He's dead. Right there, and he definitely cannot escape this. And it's too late for him to escape, and the building just blows up. So in a way, like, even though Leon died, he pretty much took Stansfield with him. So it's definitely one of the most satisfying revenges yet. Now, like, the theme of the movie, that's isolation and redemption, like the characters Leon and Matilda, they had no one who loved them. And they were very much alone. And they're dealing with loneliness from their world. But their loneliness was very different. And they're like having a redemption in a way. Whereas Leon's gains redemption by helping Matilda avenge her brother. And like starting to kind of raise to be a hit person like him. But he's also, like, for the game of charades, like, he's starting to see the humanity again. The scripting is terrific. Like, whenever Matilda turns to Leon after meeting him like only once or twice, like, she asks him, like, is life always tough for you when you were younger? And Leon pauses, and it kind of foreshadows the backstory you're about to hear from him. And he does kind of in a way kind of agree with her. It also foreshadows that when you're about to learn of his backstory. And it turns out, like, his backstory, life was hard for him. Like, the whole movie is well scripted. And he has the top-notch cinematography, like, whenever Matilda goes to Leon's door, please enter, door opens, and a breathtaking shot right there, the close-ups on the characters, the way the camera's held over their shoulders, they talk to each other. It gives a really good feel that allows you to empathize with the characters. And of course, you also have a relationship of like revenge, healing, and mutual affection between the two very lonely people. Like Luc Besson really doesn't pull all the punches with Matilda, and like Matilda's kind of like having romantic feelings for a reluctant guardian, but right there, like, but it's not like a creepy in a way though. Like, and it's not really the main focus of the movie. They're like, because like to be fair, Leon does get kind of fond of her, and to be fair, they still do have some of the good scenes between them. And what I love most about Leon the Professional is that it mixes genres effortlessly. Like there's moments of high action, scenes of tenderness and drama and complexity, and a cinematography directed by Luc Besson and beautiful score by Eric Serra. They really create a film that's very emotionally striking and visually striking as well. So now we get on to the finale with how Leon the Professional ends. So Matilda goes to Tony and tries to convince him to hire her, but Tony, though, says no, he does not employ a 12-year-old. He knows Leon died. But he also tells Matilda that Leon asked him to give him his money to her if anything happened to him. And he gives Matilda $100 and tells her to go back to school, to not come back in a month. And of course, the headmistress of that school that she was at, he re-meets her after Matilda reveals what happened, and she walks onto a field near the school to plan, and some kids ask, do you guys know her? No. And of course, she plants Leon's house plans, because remember that scene when she told Leon to give it roots, and now she is giving it roots. And she then says, I think we're going to be fine now. And she looks at the plants, and it pans out to a shot in New York, and the credits roll. You get this nice song playing in the background, but that's how Leon ends. It's a nice ending, but I do have some gripes with the ending, is that even though, like, yeah, I understand Tony not hiring her because for work, because she's 12 years old, but at least still just take her in. At least still just raise her instead. Like, yeah, don't hire her, obviously, because she's too young, but the thing is, though, you don't just say, no, take your $100, get out of my fucking sight, don't come back in a month, or I'll be pissed off. Where's she gonna fucking go? Leon's dead, her family's dead. Like, the school did take her back, but what if they didn't? What if the headmistress did not let her come back in? She'd be on the streets probably dead. Yeah, she does get back into school, but that's a scenario. Imagine if they did not allow her back. Like, there's scenes when even Leon doesn't really like this guy. Right there. And, like, he wants control of his money, but Tony says no to that. But the rest of the ending I like, because at least she's now free from all her troubles. They can at least start over, does plant Leon's tree finally to remember him. And it's sad this never got sequels, because this is a movie I wish did become a franchise, focused on Portman's character. Like, this honestly could have had some franchise potential, but it wasn't well noticed in North America when it came out, so it just never happened. Yeah, and of course, then Luc Besson did Messenger Joan of Arc, and it bombed, so he had to severe ties with Gaumont and made his own company called Europa Corp. And sadly, the script that was supposed to be the sequel for this movie, it got changed to Colombiana, which sucked. That was an awful movie. Yeah, and instead they made sequels to fucking Taken, which should have only been a one film in the first place. Like, instead of sequels to Taken, why couldn't they just made sequels to this? They should have got sequels, not fucking Taken. Right? When it comes to Transport getting sequels, Transporter 2 was decent, but I guess there's that. But Transporter 3 was not good. Transporter Refuel was awful. Because the thing is, like, some people would disagree with me on this needing sequels, but I would have liked to see Matilda all grown up and living life after Leon's death. But no, it never happened. Like, the original plan for a sequel with Matilda all grown up, actually, I wouldn't have minded seeing that. But it's probably not going to happen. It's never going to happen. So now that leads to bad qualities. So, the bad qualities are, for starters, I don't like the idea of a romance between Matilda and Leon because, for one, Leon is an adult, Matilda's 12 years old, so those scenes just do not work. Like, I would have rather maybe he became a father figure. I think that would have been better. Like, something like Man on Fire with Denzel Washington, like something like that movie. I think that would have been better. And there are certain stuff that does not really make sense, like the scenes with us going to a building that there's no business being in, or not much resistance, or scenes like that. That does kind of require to suspend disbelief, and now some people do say the director's cut is better, but apparently the director's cut kind of does more of the romance between Matilda and Leon, so no, I think the theatrical cut's better because the theatrical cut, at least it's not the main focus of the film, and it kind of does add some plot holes as to really how Matilda kind of fails the final kill if she succeeds at a few more of them. And while Norman is evil, and Matilda's abusive family minus her brother are also awful people, I honestly hate the character of Tony more than either of them. I mean as in for Matilda's family, stepsister and father. More. The mom's just really neglectful. But I think I kind of hated Tony more than Norman Stansfield because Norman Stansfield is an awesome villain. I enjoy watching Norman Stansfield. He's literally anybody's best part of the film whenever they think of the film. Like, he's often known for being one of the best villains of cinema. Of 90s movies. But I hate the character of Tony more because Tony is really just careless. Like, he acts like he controls Leon's finances, acts shady every time he's on screen, and really just gives no shits about Matilda now being alone, having really nowhere to stay. Like, not hiring her for work at least makes sense, but still, he doesn't even bother taking her in at least. Like, just take her in because she's gonna have nowhere else to go. And pretty much you're kind of the only connection that Leon has left. That's why I kind of wish she got killed in the end instead of Leon. I kind of wish Leon didn't die at the end of the movie. Like I kind of wish Leon did survive this movie. Right there. So that's the thing. I kind of wish this film did have a better ending for the character of Leon. Because I like the character of Leon. Other than those, I love Leon the Professional. And you definitely should check this out if you're a fan of Luc Besson. So in the end, I would totally watch it by Leon the Professional for your collection, no doubt, because it's definitely a terrific action movie from Luc Besson at his best. Anyways, that's it for my review of Leon the Professional. If we're going to rank Leon the Professional, here's how I'm going to rank this movie. So overall, if you love action, love Luc Besson, then totally watch it by Leon for your collection for sure, no doubt. If we're going to rank Leon the Professional, I'm going to give Leon the Professional a full-blown 10 out of 10. Alright, there we go, guys. That wraps up my review for Leon the Professional. Now I will just... Where did I... Ah, there you are. I will just put you back here with pitch black where you were last time, but yeah. As you guys can see, my new background. Yep. All new. That one right there is Turf R1. There's obviously Turf R2 beside it, but yeah. That poster is Top Gun Maverick. I got that when I went to see Top Gun Maverick for a Wednesday advanced screening of Top Gun Maverick at my Cineplex. But yeah. And well, yeah, the Turtles 2 poster, Endgame poster right there, Saw posters there. You have seen these 3 posters, guys. You obviously know what those 3 posters are. You have seen them plenty of times. They're just going to be easier to see now in the background. But yeah, at 1,612 subscribers, right there, like, yeah, let's update the background a little bit. Now that we have the 1,600 mark. Yeah. So yeah, I want to know in the comments down below what you guys think of Leon the Professional, whether you love this movie, whether you think this film's just not your cup of tea. And until then, guys, that will be it for this review. Thank you all for watching. If you like this, want to see more, and don't forget to subscribe to Don't You Corleone.